what were your top three concerns when you became pregnant?
Top three concerns when I became pregnant. I think that probably my first concern and still concern is, am I going to pass this autoimmune disease to my child? Is my child going to get MS? My second concern is probably just like, will I be able to raise them? Will I be able to run after them when they're two and they take off running or they dart across the street? We live in New York City, and darting across the street is a real big possibility, and I'm scared I won't be fast enough to catch them. My third probably problem is something that my husband and I go back and forth about all the time is like, what will I feed them? Like, how can I prevent them from being sick or getting any autoimmune disease or any disease in general? Like, will I be a crazy mom being like, no vaccines, no antibiotics, no, you can't have that cookie, that cake, that big piece of rib, whatever? Like, how crazy am I going to be? And am I going to give my child some kind of complex by the time they're 5? Because I'm totally nuts.
And so, what about medications? Were you concerned with taking your MS medication?
I'm taking Copaxone. That is a conversation that I had with my doctors well in advance of getting pregnant about whether or not I could stay on my medications. And so I take Copaxone, which is one of the only medications you can take.
And what would you suggest someone who just recently found out they were pregnant with MS? What do you suggest they ask their doctors regarding medication?
When I found out I was pregnant, the first phone call I made was to my neurologist, was to let him know that I was pregnant and that I was going to take his advice and stay on my Copaxone. And so just letting them know allows them to kind of track me, allows them to kind of keep an eye on me. Although most of the time with MS, you tend to not have relapses while you're pregnant. You tend to have them right after you deliver. So hopefully staying on the Copaxone will prevent that and help me, after the delivery.
Did he try to persuade you one way or another?
He actually did. He actually was really an advocate of me staying on Copaxone while pregnant. I don't do well off medication. So off medication, I tend to have really bad relapses. So he was encouraged me to take Copaxone, to stay on Copaxone while I was planning to have children, and then move to maybe a more aggressive form of medication after I'm done having children.
How did you temper your fears when you found out you were pregnant? Those 3 fears that you spoke about in the beginning.
I think that the best way for me to have dealt with this pregnancy was for me to just stay in communication with my support system. I have a wonderful support system. And I think that that's something you probably should have in place when you're dealing with pregnancy and a major illness like multiple sclerosis. I have great friends. I have an amazing family. And most of all, I have an amazing husband and partner. So I think if you have those people to communicate with and you have strategies in place to deal with your illness ahead of time, I have my husband who knows now, like I've had MS for 9 years, and my husband knows exactly what to do when I have a relapse. I have a mother who's retired, so I can call her and she can come stay with me if I need help. So just kind of planning. I think a lot of planning is good. So I do not promote complete accidental pregnancies when you have a chronic illness. I would say definitely try to plan that and have as much in place as possible before time.
But how about if you don't have those support systems? Who can you go speak to if you don't have those support systems in place?
Right. Well, I am learning because after 9 years of having multiple sclerosis, I'm just now starting to go to support groups. It took me a long time to be open to the idea of a support group. And I'm learning that the MS Society has so many resources. I had no idea. So it's really exciting that you can have, most autoimmune diseases do have like a national society or association. You also have blogs. You also have Pulp Nature that you can always turn to for help if you ever need assistance. Mm-hmm.